All right, well, here we are 2 days later, and we're going to turn the compost again. It should be pretty damp by the time we're done with it here today. I also have this bucket of wood ash and just kind of like biochar stuff that I burned up a while back that I've been keeping dry. And I'm going to add it in here to both of the piles as I turn them because the wood ash is actually a really good source of potassium for your compost. It's kind of dangerous to put it directly into your garden because it can be kind of intense for the plants, but if you run it through your compost pile, it's actually just fine and it'll add a lot of potassium to it. The biochar, the partially burned sticks and twigs, they'll just give places for microorganisms to live, and they will increase the water carrying capacity of the compost when it's finished. If you're going to use fire ashes in your compost, the best ones to use are just like leaves and twigs, not big logs or sticks. There's more potassium in the smaller leafy materials and the small sticks. Okay, so here we go. We're just going to turn it again and just do a time lapse of the whole process. Okay, so here it is. You could see that it's it's much more damp now. You can tell if I dig down in here, it visibly looks much more damp. So yeah, the water has kind of percolated through it, and there's still some big pieces here that just need to keep breaking down. I don't know if you could tell with this one, the fresher pile, it was clearly burning much hotter than that one, and I wonder if the steam actually came off. If you could see it on the video, if it translated through, because yeah, this one was very hot to the touch. I can actually feel it here, and it's still warm when you put your hand on it, but it was like visibly steaming. And yeah, you can see that the moisture has percolated through a lot better this time. There's still some dry pockets in there, but that'll change with time. So yeah, so there it is. That's the second turn on these two piles that I've begun documenting. That one was going for a while. This one I've just been kind of piling the stuff in there and not really doing a whole lot with it. So in effect, it's been turned 3 times or so. So, alrighty. I actually lost the first half of the video for some reason. It got corrupted or something, so here's where the second pile starts, which, I mean, you only really need to see one because they're basically the same thing. Just me shoveling compost. You can see here that it's actually steaming again when I take it off. When I move it back in there, you'll see the steam, and it was actually quite hot as I put it in. The blue bucket is full of the campfire ashes, or really it wasn't really campfire, I just had a bunch of tree trimmings that I needed to dispose of some way, and so I decided to burn them into ash and biochar. So that's what I'm adding to the pile. You can add fire ashes directly to your garden, but you have to be really careful about it because they're really alkaline and they can sweeten the soil too much. But a lot of plants will tolerate them, though there are a handful that will not. So I'm just dumping the bucket into both piles as I go, so it will get evenly distributed throughout the contents, and then just watering it all in as I go. Getting the baskets off at the beginning, when I get them off, I usually have to lean against them and kind of compress the contents inwards with my knees. I probably could buy a pair of gloves and use those so I could pull upwards a little bit harder on the mesh, but I choose not to because I'm a big cheapskate. And so, yeah, this is really all it is the same as last time, just watering it in. It was considerably more damp this time. The water had kind of worked its way through the pile, but yeah, it still was a little bit dry, so I gave it another good soak here. And that's about it. So here's an example of things that you can compost, and in here I got, coffee filters, paper towel tubes, paper towels, I made too many waffles the other day for the kids and they couldn't finish them. I think there's some leftover spaghetti down in there from my kids' dinner the other night. But all this stuff can go in. And so what I will do here is I will just kind of dig out the center of the pile, dig it all out, and give it somewhere to go. Never tried to do this one-handed. Oh, here's a piece of weed whacker line. Yeah, I'll pull that out when it's all finished. So there's that. And then you can just kind of take all this and just dump it all in there. And cover it back up. And that's how I usually do the kitchen scraps and things. I feel like they start to break down pretty fast if you get them in there and get them covered. I might even come back and wet it down again. So there you go. It's an example of other things that can go into your compost pile, just besides plants and yard clippings and things. So there we go. So that is composting second turn. We'll call it the second turn, day 2, but it's the second turn. I'm gonna see if I can turn it every couple of days here. Maybe it might have to get slipped out to 3, depending on what I'm doing. But yeah, so that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.